Alrighty, welcome back to episode, I believe, 13, or are we up to 14? 14, Duck of Doom. So, wanted to get back to the shotgun. We had tried to do a particle system for the firing, and it was not working, and I played with it a bit, and I wanted to catch back up to speed. So I did tweak this a little bit offline. And one thing I found was that when I went ahead and deleted and recreated it, and when I turned off looping, it didn't seem to want to play before. Yeah, kind of like right here. See, now I turn it on and off and it just doesn't play anymore, and that's what I ran into before. So that was quite confusing. And so, I don't actually want this to loop. It's a shotgun kind of blast. So, what I don't recall, I could go watch my own video, but whatever. This little window right here, particle effect, if I press play, then it shows me the particle system. So that I don't recall being in the window, but it is possible that, see, I've redone my layout. If you check out up here, I usually go in this layout, and maybe I had been here and just didn't see it, perhaps, right? So by going to the 2x3, as you see now, I get both the game window and this other window. So just wanted to walk you through some tweaks I made. So I changed the duration to be really short. 0.13, the start lifetime 0.13, the speed is 1. The start size goes between 2 to 3, which there's a little box here. It's either constant or random between two constants. The color I chose to be just kind of an orangey kind of, because it's a, explosion kind of flare. I had already set up a cone. I did adjust it a little bit to make it a little narrower. It's just trying to get the right feel for what looks a little bit like an explosion. I'm going to make this bottom window bigger. So if I press play down here, you see right at the nose of the shotgun, it's kind of like a flare firing, right? And then I did have to make a new material because for whatever reason, when you make a fresh particle system, this is not editable. So you saw me create some materials for other things. So in here I created a shotgun particle material. So it's just create new material. And then I assigned the default particle. And I played with this particles setting. And let's play with it again. So let's go additive. And then we go play. So that's what additive looks like. And let's go particles, additive soft, play. That's what that one looks like. And so you just cycle through them until, let's try to do some that might be dramatically different. Yeah, see that one? I don't like that one for, this particular use. But you might. That one is, so that's interesting. Like, it sort of gives a little bit of the smoke kind of look and feel, but I just don't feel it's right. If I want smoke, I'll make a smoke particle. So I felt like the additive ones are certainly right one. This one here is way too, I think the pre-multiply is causing it to be just too much. So this looks pretty close to me. One thing, once I got this sorted out, so before I get too farther here, did want to experiment with color over lifetime. So what I'd like to do is at the top, so when I select that, it changes to alpha. At the bottom, it changes to color. So if it were yellow to start and white to end, and add kind of a more orangey, reddish color there. What does that look like? Yeah, see, that gives it more of a variation in the flare. So again, we're not trying to make anything too hyper involved. This is like a game jam, as quick as we can demonstrate the making of a game, so that is good enough. So let's do a little play test. That should be good. And then the ducks fly out, and they should quack. And then we can, okay. Gee, we have to program it in, so let's do that. So here's our player behavior. Let's add a private particle system. There we go. And then my IDE suggests that that's a good name. Okay, fine. And let's initialize it in the startup equals GameObject.get component in children particle system. Good. And then we'll grab this, and so right in here we're playing the fire sound. We probably don't need to do a debug anymore, since we know that's working visually and audibly. It's playing the animation, it's playing the sound, and now let's play the particle system. Okay. So save that, and let's go back over here. Test again. Definitely don't want it to pre-fire like that. I'll have to fix that, but bam, there you go. Bam, 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 bam. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, good. So I don't know what happened last time. That was weird how it kind of didn't show up. So just reformatting the code to clean it up since it got a little messy. So the next thing we wanted to do, if you observe again, the ducks are going to come in from the left and the right and kind of center up at several different points. So that's their first flight point. And then what we want to do is make them go to their second, third, and fourth flight point. So back to ducks. So this is the code where they're actually moving, mainly this bit right here, right? Where they're lerping between the start marker and the end marker, right? And so what we want to do, trying to remember, there's a way you can subtract, I believe it's subtract 2 vector 3s to get what the distance is between them. Let me Google that since I don't remember. Get distance between 2 vectors, Unity 3D. Vector 3 distance, okay, fine. We'll just take that. All right, so what we're doing is we're saying the distance between, so again, we're game object lowercase refers to this object, which in this case is going to be a specific duck. So where its position currently is and where it's going, the end marker, right? So this is going to be the distance between those two things. So no, we don't actually have to assign this to a value. We're going to say if that distance is less than 0.2 float, get next nav point. So now we have to make this, so it's going to be private doesn't return anything. So again, I've mentioned this before, but public and private. Private is when it's just to the internal working of the class, and public, especially for Unity, is when you want it to show up in the editor in one of the scripts like this, right? So if I go and select in the hierarchy, the game controller, I wanted these spawn points to show up. They had to be public. When they're private, if it's just the internal mechanics of the class, it doesn't need to be exposed. That's a concept called encapsulation. So now we need to design just a little bit of a system about. So what happened was when we first set the nav points, we do this set duck travel points, and we go in and we set the end marker to the 0 position, right? But we need to know now over time that we've hit 0 and that it's time to go to number 1. So let's do another private int current nav point equals 0. So when we get next nav point, it's going to plus equal 1. So if it's 0, it'll come in, and now it's going to be 1. Next time when it's 1, it'll come in, it'll be 2. And then the end marker now becomes that. And the start marker becomes whatever its current position is. And I kind of think that might be enough. So they should go between 4 points. And so finally, what we'll need to handle is, okay, so like if current nav point is less than 3 is when all this is going to happen. Because remember, it's 0 indexed. So 0, 1, 2, 3 is 4 points. And then else, we won't program this out right now, but the else, something else will happen, which is going to be that they fly off the screen, right? All right, so now if we're lucky, if we did it right, the ducks will come out and they'll kind of go all around. Look at that. Woo! Yeah. All right, good. So they shifted around nicely. Bam! See ya, ducks. It was too fast. And also they were, sometimes you could tell they were picking the same nav point. I'm just going to let that be for now. So else, we want to fly off the screen in a random direction. And by random, I guess we need to determine, does random mean, directly to the left or right? See, let's get a little assets. We don't want to click on anything. Create game object 3D sphere. All right, let's see if it shows up. Yeah, all right. So here we are from our player's point of view. And assume this little circle was a duck. And he's flying around, quack, quack, quack over here, quack, quack, quack up here, quack, quack, quack here. And then his last one, up here. So he's to the left of the player. Do we always want him to exit to the side that he's closest to the exit already? So if he stopped here, we go to the right. If he stopped here, we'd go to the left. It's one way to go. Or another thing is, well, it's truly random. He's here, or he might decide he's going to go off screen here, or maybe he'll even go up, which is an interesting choice, I suppose. Furthermore, let's say we go with, sorry, wrong widget there. let's go with that they're always going to go to the nearest exit. Should they go like literally horizontally out as fast as they can, or should they instead like do a arc, in or out, which I don't know if it matters a lot, but it can give it a more natural appearance. So as I was talking that out, I guess to me the one that I like the best is that you will already we'll adjust it so they don't move so fast, but you'll already have had multiple opportunities to hit them. So I think I want them to exit as soon as they can off to the side they're already at. So we need some way. This is not in a random direction, right? In direction of the closest screen edge. And then let's change the speed up here. Speed 1.0 float, okay. Seems like it's gotta be faster than that, but 0.5. Let's try that. Let's see if this is a more reasonable speed for the ducks. They're fast. All right. That doesn't. Oh, you know what? Number of ducks. Okay. Thought. Let's go back to my favorite view, which is tall. Prefabs, duck. Speed is that. Yeah, this is probably why. We modified it in code, but I don't think that took effect because of the public variable. Yeah, look at that. Those are better speeds now. There you go. We'll have to put in a firing a speed too. Actually, what I want to do, let's put this in our documentation. Shotgun can fire 2 shells, then must reload. So there's, because it's a double barrel shotgun, and then ducks fly off the nearest edge of screen. So we did already do the flight patterns for the duck. This is a reload mechanism, but I guess let's move this here. Okay. So that's kind of our to-do list growing and or checking off as we go. All right. Play scene again. So player, how do we calculate? So what I don't know right now is, like, I'm just testing the scene, right? We're going to eventually make a scene that looks prettier in some shape or form. Either that looks like a little, something at a state fair, or whether it looks like a legit outdoor scene. I don't even know. So I want to design this in just like I did the spawn points, where I could add or remove them, or where I can actually move them around. And so the player, he may not be right here when the final game is done. So whatever code I write, I can't go see the position right here. And I think if I change this X value, he'll slide to the left, yep, and increase it, they'll go to the right. So if X is less than 95, then go to the left. Otherwise, if X is greater than 95, go to the right. I can't say that because they might be somewhere else in the 3D world. But I could go and say, well, am I to the left of the player or to the right of the player? So they have to go find out where the player is. And then what if we decided that you can actually walk around in this game, which right now you can, and I'm thinking to disable this to make it really feel like a shooting gallery experience, whether it's outdoors or indoors. But if you really could walk, then that really truly needs to be dynamic, right? It can't be hard-coded at all. It needs to go find out exactly where the player's at and make a smart choice at that moment. So, Mr. Ducky. We don't have a reference to the player in here at all right now. We could, the enemy manager, yeah, let's not overcomplicate it, or pre-optimize, etc. So let's go in here and get a, or actually, yeah, we can do it down here. This is fair. So, player behavior. So, find object of type, player behavior. I've always found this syntax to be weird, but it helps make sure you're finding the right kind of object and prevents some problems. I should read my C# book again. But so this is going to go find the player behavior in the scene somewhere. Then, so now we need to the player behavior. The game object is attached to. So we need, so that's its position, right? And we need to know if the duck is to the left or the right of it. So if game object transform dot position is less than, is that valid? It's okay. How about, well, so yeah. Again, I didn't want to over hard code it, but right now, because I'm very much leaning towards shooting gallery, I think the x-axis, like we talked about, will be valid. If it does end up walking around in the world, then I would have to redesign this a little bit, but we're just going to go with this for now. So the x-axis of wherever I plopped it in the world, if it's less than, that means I'm to the left. Else. Okay. So then this is very similar to the start marker and end marker ideas we had before. So start is its current position, and the end, I guess, yeah, this is interesting. We could do end markers, and that would make my life easier, I guess. I'm just trying to think, could we go current nav point transform? Here, maybe this new vector 3. It's a little tricky. I don't want to confuse too much. So each transform has a position and then a dot x, y, and z position. And a vector 3 takes an x, y, and a z. So if I want it to go to the left, which is the negative, right? And then the Y is going to be, who cares, it's the same. And the Z is going to be the same. Did I do that right? Seems like it should be right. Why is it complaining? Vector 3 to transform. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired, so let me Google that. Well, is that all I need? Maybe. Alright, so then it should be similar code for the end marker up here, except it's plus 500. Alright, cross fingers. Either did it right or I did it wrong. Gonna make this wide, so alright, come on, duckies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and interesting. Alright, it keeps entering in that loop. Yeah, so it looks like it's probably working for the most part, but it keeps coming in here, and then it gets the dude and says, am I left or right? And then yeah. So then we need it to destroy itself after it's off the edge of the screen. All right, so unfortunately I started late tonight, and I think that's a good one for now. We will do the destruction next time. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.